Yep. I'll add, I had the thought, now it's gone. God, I do this all the time.
It's literally, that is my daily life. Here are some real clips of what it's actually like to have ADHD. And then
I
you just
know, just
insert
put
all the
these
clips of you
down.
forgetting what to say or me like jittering in my chair. Love the brain that I have. Learn how to work with the brain that I have.
Yeah, so that's my advice for all you people out there. Just have a couple kids. It'll fix you right
There
up.
you go. There you go.
And then I just turned on the like permanent hyperfixation obsession and just like dialed it up.
I already hate me. I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
exactly. So it's like I already think I suck. So like who
Right.
cares if I suck more?
And that's the struggle of my life is if I'm
Mhm.
gonna do something, I need to finish it immediately.
With like very creative book related stuff, and then I try and write in the evening. My brain is like, "Why are you doing this to me?"
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm tapping out.
Yeah, but yeah. Okay, so I have, which I guess it doesn't matter how I edit it. You're over here for me right now.
Yeah, that's how it is for me too.
Brilliant. I have Cody with me here, and we are going to talk about being neurospicy and writing and all of those fun things. Yes, it's going to be good. I assume anyone watching this knows who I am, but we should probably do introductions anyway. So, do you want to like
Mhm.
introduce yourself? We'll put like any links and stuff in the description.
Yeah, sure. I'm Cody. I am on the internet chronically as Cody the Writer. I'm on, YouTube, Instagram, all the things. And I guess I can say last year now because it's officially New Year's Day.
Ooh.
So last year I published my debut novel, The Ghostwriters Club. It's a mystery thriller, Pretty Little Liars meets Riverdale meets I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's a fun time. And yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Sweet. And if anyone's, I guess, hopping in here who doesn't know who I am, I'm Madeline James. I'm a fantasy writer. I do a lot of excessive world building stuff that really doesn't need to happen, but I do it anyway.
That's really
I have
cool.
I have this channel, and then Madeline James World Builds, my world building channel, and I have a book coming out this year.
This year, literally like 4 months away.
Oh my gosh, yeah, April 9th. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's wow. I didn't mentally process that until just now. I'll set that aside and unpack that later. But yes, yes. So, with my experience with ADHD and all of that, I see a lot of times one of the big problems is like getting things done and being consistent because like yay executive functioning.
Hmm. Hmm.
So what about we start talking about like our journey before we kind of were able to become a consistent writer and figure out something that worked for us. Assuming we both sort of have something going on now that works for us, you know?
Right, right, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
Sure, I can start.
Mhm.
So yeah, I started writing. I honestly I couldn't even tell you when I started. I've always written as far as I know. I have little like papers that I made in elementary school that I stapled together and like wrote little books on and stuff. But I don't know, I've always written, but it's never been super consistent. Like, I'd write a little bit and then stop and then write a little bit and stop. I technically wrote a full book in middle school and the beginning of high school, and I sort of fake published it, like, just so my friends could buy it, but I will not ever acknowledge that or
Mhm.
say what name it was published under because it doesn't count. I dropped it a little bit in high school and college, and then started working on the first book that I eventually became consistent writing with like 9 years ago. So we're going up to like maybe the time I'm like 20, right? I was on and off writing, always did
Mhm.
it a little bit in the side, but would go like months and years without writing. And that's sort of the preamble.
I
Your
feel that. Yeah, I feel that. I mean, it was pretty much the same thing for me. Early college, later years, things like that. I honestly, I didn't find my own consistent writing routine probably till like 3 years ago.
Mm.
So it's still pretty new, pretty fresh. But I love that you mentioned the book that you stapled together because I literally have a copy of the very first book that I ever wrote and illustrated about a cat
Oh,
and this girl who takes her cat to the park and does all these things and it's a great time and I keep it on my desk as like that was my first creative pursuit that I ever wanted to do and
I love
I
that.
wrote short stories and
Mm.
stuff and wanted to write a novel but never really could until like 2 years ago whenever I finished the first draft of Ghostwriters Club. So very similar vibe, just on and off, tried and then gave up for like a year, 2 years, and then would come back to it. There was always something that brought me back to it, and this time it stuck. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So that leads into, I guess, the next phase of our journey, which is becoming consistent, right? Which I feel like that's the number one thing I hear people asking about. Not even just in like a neurospicy thing, but in a
just
like
in general,
in general, yeah, for writers, like how do you make it happen and not, switch projects or, not writing consistently, all that kind of stuff. And I'm very curious to see what you have to say for this because I feel like my answer is very unsatisfying. It would have been okay, I can actually figure this out because it was when I was pregnant with my first kid. So it would have been like the very beginning of 2019. I
hmm
had been working on this like fantasy project that had like all the things. I had never up until this point like really consumed a lot of writer content. I read a ton, but I hadn't read craft books. I didn't know what like I knew what the 3 act structure was because you learned that in English class, but like
hmm
I had very little like official knowledge. And something just like switched in my brain. I don't know if I watched something on YouTube about like self-publishing or something, but I saw that and I was like, if I want to be a writer one day, I have to like do stuff. And that just like switched in my brain and I started watching a ton of like authortube content and I started like making myself plans of like, okay, if I want to actually like finish writing this book and not be in the like write a little bit of this, write a little bit of this other thing, world build doom spiral, like I need to
hmm
actually make myself a plan. And I made myself little like writing trackers for every month. And by the time my son was a few months old, because I wrote a lot during my maternity leave, I had finished that book. And like since
hmm
then, I have been extremely consistent. And it was like me just realizing that like if I want to be a writer, I need to make it happen. And then I just turned on the like permanent hyperfixation obsession and just like dialed it up and it somehow has stayed,
yeah,
which I feel like isn't helpful for other
yeah.
people.
But no, like as you're speaking, I'm like that sounds just like how it happened for me because my thing was my arbitrary number was like I wanted to be a published author by the time I turned 30.
Mm,
That was like my always my goal because I don't know why 30, why, that age, but that's what I picked. And so um I was, on and off like I mentioned before, on and off writing through college, whatever, after college, and it just would never stick. But then I turned 28 and I was like, we're getting really close to 30. Like we either if you're gonna do this, we need to do this.
mm,
And similar to you, I was finding all the AuthorTube content that I could find. Like I was just consuming nonstop. Kate Kavanaugh, Jenna
mm.
Moresi, Mandy Lynn, like
Yep.
all the
Same
OG
one.
queens,
Yes.
Bethany Atazadeh, all the queens of AuthorTube. I
Mhm.
was consuming everything that I could, learning everything that I could, and I don't know if you have this similar thing, but like, because I have so many, I love a hobby. One thing about me, I love a hobby.
Yes.
And usually my hyperfixation is like a rotation.
Yes.
So, like, I'll have like a month and a half where I'm obsessed with video games and then TV shows and then crochet and then, doing something outside and then writing and then reading. Like, it was just always like kind of like
Mhm.
circulate, but I'd always come back to all of those same hobbies at some point within the year. And this go round, I hit writing my hyperfixation, and that was October of 2023. Was
Mhm.
whenever I seriously was like, I'm going to write this freaking book and get it
Mhm.
done. And ever like once I actually did finish the book, there was just such a overwhelming sense of accomplishment because I was like, this is a huge document. And I actually, as someone who's ADHD, I was just proud that I actually saw something that long term all the way through to the end. And
Yeah.
it almost like gave me this like high that I was like, I need to experience this for the rest of my life. And pretty much just been writing ever since. And now I have finished 2 more first drafts. And it's just really cool to see how it all stuck, you know?
Yeah. I did realize I was wrong. I misremembered because you said the year, and I'm like, that sounds like a similar timeline. And I'm like, but I said 2019. It was when I was pregnant with my daughter. So it would have been
Mm.
2021, not 2019. I was like, it hasn't been that many years. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, yes, I very much relate to all of that. It's just I tend to not cycle back to all of my hobbies. I really like one of my hobbies is I really like to learn how to do things. But
Hmm.
then I find if I've dropped them too long, I find it really hard and overwhelming for me to pick them back up because I'm like, I know I used to know how to do this, but I don't anymore. And now the idea of relearning it doesn't have the same like dopamine surge
Hmm.
that it did the
Yeah.
first time. And then it's just like, I don't want to do it again.
Yeah. I don't want to be made a fool.
Yes. So like I'll go back to video gaming because I'll start like I very rarely go back to the same video game.
Hmm.
I'll go back to like a new show if I'm like in a sprint of watching TV shows. I'll go back to like a new book series if I'm doing like a reading one. But like I've done like quilting, I've done historical sewing, I've done crocheting, I've done like the hobby of acquiring hobbies
Yes,
as
I
it were.
love that. And that's so funny that you say that. Is there a reason that you don't typically come back to the same thing more than once? Is it because like you already know what happens and so you need something new and fresh?
A lot of time it's just that it's not as exciting to relearn it is typically the big thing. So
Hmm.
like and this is weird because like my day job, less so right now, but like
Yeah.
my day job has been like a software engineer, right? Like I am
Hmm.
you'd think a techie person, but I am so bad with technology because I forget how to use it. Like I'll learn how to do something in Photoshop, and then if I'm not doing it consistently, I forget things super quickly. And then it's
Hmm.
just like it's really frustrating when I want to do something and I know I used to know how to do it and I can't remember how to do it. And that
Hmm.
like that really turns me off of returning to things. Like I
That's
used to
so
know how to play this
interesting.
video game and I knew all this information about this video game, but if I go back to it, I'm not going to remember any of it. And I'll just have that like it's sort of like if you start reading a book and you can't tell if you already read it and you
Hmm.
think you did, it's like that.
I get that. But also, see, I'm kind of like the opposite, where it's like if I used to know how to do something and then I remember it, that excites me. I'm like, oh yeah, I found it. It's right here. They
Mhm.
just updated the software and moved it down here instead of up there where it was last time. I don't. That's so interesting how it's
Mhm.
like same experience but like different reaction. You know?
Yeah, yeah, and it's fed into funnily enough, all of my world building stuff, like, I never started making world building content for the purpose of other people. It was
Hmm.
literally because I got to the point where I'm like, "I'm doing this so in depth now that I'm having to research things every time I do it." So I made the
Hmm.
guides for me to teach myself how to do it the next time, and then just
Hmm.
started, like, sharing that, and that's the only way I can, like, come back to these long-term things is if I make myself, like, guides. So, like, every craft book I make, I have little guides for myself and little, like,
Hmm.
note sheets and, like because I just assume my memory is completely useless and I will learn nothing.
Yeah. And maybe that, I think maybe where that thing comes from, because like my day job is cyclical. So like there are certain things that I'm only doing, like everything that I just finished doing in December, I won't be doing it again until next December.
Mm,
And
mm,
so it's a lot of sort of rediscovering how to do something,
mm.
dusting off the cobwebs in my day life. And I feel like also with, writing, especially with, in writing and publishing, it's also kind of like a cyclical process because you
Mm,
have
mm,
drafting, then you have revision, then you have, professional edits, then you have publishing and all the things that go into that, ISBNs, book covers, everything, and then you come back to drafting, and so it's also very cyclical, so they line up
yeah.
in that way. So maybe that's just why my brain is like, oh, I'm used to this cyclical cycle of having to sort of dust the cobwebs off and rediscover how to do something once I'm returning to it.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I it definitely does because like, my job definitely never had that cyclical thing, it was always something new.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I before we move past the like our switches flipped to
Hmm.
we're doing this now. How did like being neurospicy or any diagnoses or any of that, how did that like factor into like your experience before that point or leading up to it?
Well, I mean, I feel like the most common answer, I mean, I couldn't focus for long because I mean, I'm yeah, hyperactive, couldn't sit still for very long, and
Mm,
then also had the attention deficit. So I was diagnosed with ADHD as a kid. I
mm,
was probably like 7, 8 years old, and I was just always one of those kids that was like, I couldn't sit still, I could not stay in one place, and at first, back then it was a different time. Mental disorders and things like that were not as prevalent in the medical community. They weren't as well researched. They weren't as well documented. And so growing up, my parents didn't really know much about ADHD. They had never
mm,
really encountered it because I'm the only one in my family that has it. They were like, they didn't think it was like a real thing, and they didn't want to
mm,
give their kid medicine that could potentially harm them, all that stuff. But there, my mom tells me this story all the time. Like the day she knew that the ADHD was real was I was sitting at we had like this little like high top bar with like bar stools where we would like eat our dinner or whatever, and I was sitting there eating, and I just could not sit still. I couldn't like sit still long enough to actually finish my dinner. And at one point, I had wiggled so much that the chair ended up falling backwards, and I hit the floor, and I was crying, and I was
mm.
upset. And my mom was like, "What? Like, why can't you just sit still?" And I was just crying, saying, "I can't. I'm trying so hard, but I can't." And
Oh.
like 7-year-old Cody was like, he wanted to make his mom happy so bad, but he just could not sit still.
Mhm.
And that was the moment where I got my first diagnosis.
Mm,
But then once I actually got on the medication, made me a zombie. Not a good
mhm,
time. And I would just fall asleep. There was one time where I fell asleep and woke up at 7 p.m. thinking that I was late for the bus that
mm,
was supposed to be there at 7 a.m. And I had gotten up, showered, gotten dressed for school and everything at 7 p.m. And so that's when my mom was like, okay, maybe we need to adjust something. So I got off the medication,
mm,
and I kind of stayed like that for all the way through, grade school, college. I was completely unmedicated, which how I made it through high school and college unmedicated, God only knows. But it wasn't until about 2-ish years ago, whenever I was seriously wanting to take writing seriously. I was like, well, if I'm going to take writing seriously, I also need to take my mental health seriously,
mm,
because 99% of writing is using your brain to build characters in a world and keep it consistent and a plot and all those things.
mm,
And so I was like, if I'm going to do this, I need to take everything seriously and get re-diagnosed, which I did
mm.
about 2.5 years ago. And honestly, it was the best decision I ever made, because it is what led me to be able to do what I'm doing right now. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy how all that stuff, like, works. It's also
Yeah.
I was curious how much, like, your experience would reflect mine, and I think mine was actually incredibly different with it. Um,
Okay.
I wasn't diagnosed until the year after I started seriously writing, so it was only a few years ago that I got diagnosed at all. Um, I like I mean, I had the things there, but I think it's pretty stereotypical, like, especially of the way ADHD tends to present in girls, like, it tends to go undiagnosed, like, I know it does for both, but, like,
Hmm.
statistically, it seems fairly common, but I was a very self-responsible kid while also being very or, thinking myself very lazy and undisciplined at the same time because, like, that's how
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
works.
Yep.
But, like, I honestly, like, thinking back on it, I really don't know how I was as successful as I was in high school and college. Because like, looking back at it, I'm like, I can see how much I was, like, struggling with everything, but, like, I
Yeah.
figured something out,
Yeah.
because,
You
like
just learned how to cope.
yeah, I learned a lot of coping mechanisms, most of that being notes, planners, writing things down repeatedly, like, I still
Hmm.
have, like, my calendar written in, like, 4 different places that I keep up to date, all handwritten just because I need it in all these different ways and places or else I can't function. Um, but like I made it through high school, I made it through college, like I had good grades. I all the stuff that like I had to do where there was a deadline, where there was like, ooh, people are going to be like upset with me if I don't do these things, was very motivating enough to push me over the like executive functioning issues. So like
Mm-hmm.
for the things I had to do, I was great. But then it was all the things that were like, I guess like for myself that I struggled with cuz like it's hard, you can't give
Mm-hmm.
yourself deadlines very easily. It's hard to make
Yeah.
yourself feel that sense of panic and like if you don't do this, people are going to hate you, you know, cuz it's
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
Exactly.
And not as
I already hate me. I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
exactly. So it's like I already think I suck, so like who
Right.
cares if I suck more?
Exactly.
Um, yeah, which I think really contributed to, I guess, just my like flipping around with things a lot. And like I'd get excited about either a part of world building or a new story idea, and I'd like go do that other thing. But like I could never do it consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it eventually get on medication for a while after I'd started consistently. But what ended up working for me was sort of like learning how to steer my hyperfixation, like herding cats
Mm-hmm.
was kind of the game that I played of
Very
like
that.
yeah, because like if I like read a craft book, it would get me thinking on something, and then that would like inspire me, and then hyperfixation would tumble, or watching
Rabbit
an
hole.
author tube video, and then that would tumble, and I
Mm-hmm.
just realized
Mm-hmm.
that I had to keep like maybe to like for a normal person they might think it's slightly unhealthy, but like I just had to constantly surround myself with it so that I
Mm-hmm.
would just ping pong back in between the different parts of it
It's
versus
like the
like
people that juggle the plates, that spin the plates. Like if you ever stop at any moment, the plate will fall and break, and and once it's broken, it's that's it. It's it's
mhm.
gone. You know.
Exactly. Exactly. That's basically what happened. And so that worked for me, and I think it also helped that, like, when I had my daughter, it was shortly after COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, like, I'm antisocial and did it really make that much of a difference for me? No. But
Mm-hmm.
but there was just less, like, going on to pull me into doing other things, and also I was having, like, a second kid, so, like, as much as I love my children, they don't cause me to hyper fixate on them. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I love them desperately, and I get the
Yeah.
dopamine rush when I hug them and, like, I love my children. I think I'm
Yeah.
a good mom, but, like, they're not gonna distract me for a week in some new video game, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
like, I think almost having that busyness and sleep deprivation and just not having the spoons to find or pick up anything new also helped me kind of actually get started on doing it consistently,
Oh
which
yeah.
sounds weird when I think about it, but
Well, they took up the mental space where the distractions would usually try to
Mhm,
burrow in, you know. And
mhm,
so I guess that makes total sense because you were like, okay, I've already got all of this that I'm dealing with because being a mom is a full time job in itself, and
mhm,
so doing it's almost like two full time jobs,
mhm,
but that space where you would always have like the distractions or the rabbit holes or
mhm,
whatever, that space kind of I guess got filled with taking care of them and being a mother
mhm.
to them. And so yeah, whatever you already had, you were just like, I'm just going to hold on to this because I cannot be bothered with anything else right now.
Yep, yep,
So
which
I mean,
I
hey, whatever works.
yeah, so that's my advice for all you, people out there, just have a couple kids, it'll fix you
There
right.
you go. There you go.
No, it's
And if you
it's
don't want
crazy
kids, get a
too.
pet.
Yeah, yeah, because I think, like, my daughter was also a very difficult newborn, like, very difficult baby. She did not like
Hmm.
other people. Like, she would occasionally tolerate my husband's presence.
Mm.
Occasionally. Everyone else for the first year and a half, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No one could touch her. No one could be in the room or look at her. She was like, "No, absolutely not. You're
I
not
love
mom.
that.
You are a horrible serial killer." Um, and she reverse cycled when I went back to work, which meant she decided she would hunger strike during the day, and then be up all night, like eating, and like basically just switched herself to a nocturnal vampire. So I
Mm,
got like maybe 3, 4 hours of interrupted sleep every night for like 4 or 5 months straight. So like I was a literal zombie, yet somehow I finished my first book.
wow.
I
That's
really,
amazing.
it sounds impossible. It
Yeah.
sounds dumb. I don't know.
No,
But
moms are superheroes. They can do lots of things that
yeah,
people think you should not be able to do, but somehow moms figure out a way to do it and they make it look easy. So
yeah, yeah.
shout out to all the moms out there watching this video.
Definitely.
You're
Definitely.
the real MVPs.
No shame also to all the moms that like have tons of stuff going on and don't magically turn into like super productive writers. Like
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
think the way it affected me is necessarily normal, but
Everyone's journey is different.
exactly, exactly. I feel like that's I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah,
The
that's the tagline. There you
yes,
go.
that's the word. So I think I was gonna say that so like I eventually got on medication
Mm,
and I think that was helping me a lot. And then I got taken off it because I was having, like, medical stuff, which they were just being really stupid about. It turned out to
mhm,
just be, like, migraines, but they were like,
mm.
"Maybe your medication is messing with this, but, like, I'm not gonna take you seriously, and then I'm gonna make you wait 6 months to go see a neurologist." So, like, by the time they were like, "Oh, yeah, you can go back on all your medicine because there's literally no evidence that it would have caused any of these problems anyway or affected it in any way whatsoever. We just didn't wanna, like, give you real solutions, you know?
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
at that point, I was already off the habit of taking it, and I have literally not been able to get back, like, consistently taking it. So I
I
just
take it like clockwork
mhm,
every day.
mhm. I have
And then it's not usually the same time. Obviously, because for me, I require structure.
mhm,
And so work, anytime as soon as I walk into my office, it's like my cue to my brain to be like, hey, take your medicine so you can
mhm,
focus on work today. And
yeah,
so that's kind of almost like a visual cue for me at this point.
mhm, yeah. I think the thing that messes me up is that I think you're supposed to eat before you take it or, like for some reason, I have to take it at a different time than my
Hmm.
morning pills, which I have to take an hour before I start eating or consuming anything. And,
Mm.
like, even just taking my, like, morning and nighttime pills are a struggle, like, that is, like, my husband's number 1 job. He has little, like he sets them out for me every week, and then he checks every morning and makes sure I take them and make sure I take them every night, and, like 'cause I'm atrocious. I am
It's
atrocious
all
at
right.
it.
I mean, I'm sure if I had to take multiple different things throughout the day, I would also struggle. But luckily
Mm,
for me, that my ADHD pills, the one pill a day that I take,
yeah.
other than ibuprofen if I need it. But
Mm, mhm. I love
so
ibuprofen.
man, me too.
It helps. Yeah. Okay, so we've gotten to the point that we're, like, consistent, right? We're consistent, we've gotten through our stuff, we're writing consistently. Um, what was, like, I guess, the rest of the journey from there on to, like, where you are now? Has it just been, like, all steam ahead?
Um, there are times that it has been all steam ahead, but there have definitely been some times where because I really had to learn what my limits were,
Mm,
like how far I could push myself before reaching a state close to or in a burnout stage.
mhm,
And so it was after the first book that I wrote, the very next year, it was 2024, November. For NaNoWriMo, I wrote the first draft of my second book, and I did all of that in 90 days, which I was like, holy crap, that's so cool. I had never completed a nano in just the month of November. I've
mhm,
attempted many times, but 2024 was the first year that I actually succeeded. But after I closed that laptop on November 30th, I entered such a like low like mental state of just like burnt out. I did not
mhm,
write for probably like 3 months. I didn't look at anything. I didn't think about any of that. Like I just it was not a good time. And
mhm,
it took me a while to really work myself back up to coming back to writing because I had just burnt myself out, and
mhm,
that's when I realized my limit was 50,000 words in 30 days is too fast for me, which led to this year, where I just actually yesterday wrapped up the 90-day novel writing challenge, where it's just a little challenge that I made up for myself, something that
Mhm,
worked for me, and invited the community to join if they felt so inclined. And after completing that yesterday, as of like right now, I am so excited to like dive back into some like writing and some revisions on my second book, because that's the next thing on the docket. And
mhm,
so it was really, I had to find my limits and sort of
mhm,
set those boundaries with myself, because if obviously overextend those, I mean, your brain's like any other muscle. If you overextend
mhm,
it, you have to has a recovery period. And as of right now, I have found that that pace works really well for me. And
mhm,
I still have all the motivation right now to continue forward, to keep on writing. So I feel like it's obviously different for every person, but knowing your limits, what you're able to do in what amount of time healthily
mm,
without overexerting yourself, is very, very, very important. And that has probably been the key to my success in writing in 2025, was really locking that down and
mm,
sticking with that.
mhm. Yeah, I feel like I have had a very similar experience where, for the most part, like, I've been very consistent, like, I haven't gone more than a couple months without writing, and the breaks I've had have been, few and mostly short,
Hmm.
but it's definitely, like it feels like learning the guide to how to make yourself do stuff and, like, all the
Hmm.
little things that, like, help or hurt and all of that stuff, which I think getting diagnosed with ADHD, or the inattentive ADHD, once I was kind of into it and kind of gotten through that first, like, fever dream of writing the first draft, and then I
Hmm.
was, like, having to go into edits and thinking about where I was going next and all that, realizing why my brain worked the way it did and, like, starting to be able to label it and understand it and, like, switch a lot of
Hmm.
that, like, the shame over to understanding really helped
Hmm.
me mentally be able to think about it like that and think about it as something to work with versus something to just be upset with myself for, like, "Why can't I do this consistently now?" It's like,
Hmm.
I understand why now, and it's
Hmm.
not my fault, but I can still try to find ways to make it better and, like, to work around it.
Exactly.
Yeah, which has helped a lot, and I think there's, like I don't know, there's a few things that have been very big for me with being consistent, and getting to the point now where, like, now I'm doing it, like, full time, and I'm
Hmm.
not I was really scared when I first left my job, and I was like, "This is gonna be a problem, like, what if I can't do it consistently every day, and, like, what if I can't meet my goals?" And I'm working, like, 60 hours a week at this point, so obviously I'm working enough, but
Yeah.
I think the 2 biggest things for me, the first one was definitely, being aware of, like not necessarily, like, burnout, because I don't feel like I burn out very much, but, like, my, like, health is a big thing for me, that
Hmm.
affects my ability to make myself do things, and I tend to, when I'm not feeling good, try to push myself to do things anyway, and then I will blame myself and not the fact that I'm not feeling well, um and one of the big thing why I got taken off the ADHD medication is I get migraines, which sounds like a normal thing, except I don't get, like, headaches or anything like that. I just get weird
Yeah.
neurological conditions that, like, make people think I have MS. Like, I was originally diagnosed with MS, and then they were like, "Oh, you just have migraines, and existence is above your migraine threshold," which was fun, but, like,
Right. That's crazy.
it's very bizarre, it's very bizarre. But realizing the things that trigger that because it's like, it's such small things, like, it'll be, like, discomfort, like, I'll be like, "Oh, like, the nerves in my hand are kind of uncomfortable and I'm not feeling super great," and, like, learning the things that trigger that helps me avoid them to then be able to be more consistent with the things I wanna do,
Yes.
which is helpful. So, like, the
Yes.
heat, I've learned that being out in the heat is really, really bad for me. So, like,
Mm.
I just don't even try to push it at all anymore. I'm like, "Oh, it's above 80 degrees. I'm not going outside and you can't make me." Which,
Mhm. Mhm.
is annoying in some cases, but like stuff like that. And then I think the biggest thing that has helped me from a mentality switch is someone told me that you can do anything if it's one of your top 3 priorities. And I that really clicks with me of like,
Yes.
okay, like I have my family, right? Like that's obviously my top priority and like, I suppose technically my health should be one of those top 3 priorities. I don't know. And
Well,
then like
you're
right,
part of the family,
yeah,
so
yeah, 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 taking care of us as a unit.
yes, all of
Um,
us.
yes. And then writing is like my number 2.
Mhm.
And that always really helps me when I want to start going down and doing something else, and I'm like, "That's not one of my top 3 priorities." Like, if I have a break or wanna use some of my free time, like, I can do that, but, like, I tell myself no so
Mhm.
often with wanting to start a new video game, and I'm like, "I have to hit this deadline. I can't just start a new video game on a weekend because I know if I start this, I'm gonna binge play it for 2 weeks
Yes.
straight, and I do not have time for that right now."
Yes, Clark gets so mad at me because he'll like throughout the year want to play like a new video game together. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you have to wait till Christmas break because that is
Mhm,
the 1 week a year that I allow myself to just absolutely be glued to the couch playing a
mhm,
video game nonstop. And so like this year we played a lot of Mario Party. That was
mm,
our game this year. And we were just playing that nonstop all week and it was awesome. But
mhm,
that's like my one rule. Like I'm like, okay, you get this one time block. You get to pick the video game, and we'll just play to something together. It'll be great.
mhm. If I start something,
I
I do
yes,
not have control to make myself stop.
I'm the same way, and
Yeah.
I and this like because Clark, whenever we were watching a bunch of TV shows and things, he was wanting to start another one, and I was like, but we don't have enough time to finish the whole thing. Like
Mm,
I can't like as if I stop in the middle of something, I lose interest. Like the
mhm,
next
yep,
day, I'm not interested in it anymore. I'm not coming back to it. You can just finish it without me because I don't care anymore. Like, and I don't
mhm.
mean that ever in like a mean way. Whenever like, because at first he was always like, he would kind of take that as me being kind of like mean about it, and I was like, no, it's
Oh,
really. I'm just being completely honest. Like, I've lost all interest. Like, we waited too long to come back to it, and my brain is on something else. And that's the struggle of my life. Is if I'm
mhm.
gonna do something, I need to finish it immediately because the longer I wait, the least likely I am to return to it.
Yep, yep, I am the same way, and it's part of that, like, I feel like hurting the ADHD attention, it's like hurting cats. I mean, I
In
guess
a
maybe it's a
bathtub.
little bit more predictable, but yeah, yeah, it's you have to know how to work around it and acknowledge, like, because I feel like that's something I did at first is I tried to, like, I didn't want to be like that, like, I'm like, "Oh, I can, like, force myself not to be," and, like, I finally got to the point where I'm like, "Nope, if I start doing it, I will not be able to stop,"
Mhm.
and, like, if I let myself hyperfixate on something and, like, learning what those, like, little things might trigger me, like, it can
Mhm.
literally be as much as, like, watching a YouTube video about a video game, like, that, like,
Is
it's a
enough.
gateway drug.
It is. It's a spark, and that's all you need because then the whole
Yeah.
thing's on fire, and we're like, I need to know everything about this right now.
Yes, exactly, which is a problem, but,
Yeah.
like, when you know that, you can also feed yourself the right sparks to get yourself
Mhm.
on the right things, which helps
Exactly.
me a lot.
Yes. And it's
Mhm,
so because like you said earlier, like whenever you realize the symptom, whenever you like give a name to it, it
mhm,
almost like makes it feel more real and less intangible
mhm,
because whenever it feels more real, you can avoid it easier.
mhm,
If it's this like elusive thing that is just happening, then you can't quite avoid it. Like
yeah,
for me, like you were talking about with the hyperfixation, I know what will send me into a spiral, rabbit hole,
mm,
obsession with something. And I know what times of year that I want to seek those things out and what times of year that I do not because I have other things that need to get done.
mhm,
And so it's a never ending cycle of just learning yourself and where your pitfalls are and then kind of like backtracking those pitfalls to a point where you're like, oh, that's where this issue started. And
mhm,
kind of avoiding that situation unless you are seeking out that situation. Like if you have time off or whatever, and you do want to
yeah,
go on a rabbit hole, feel free. It's like
mhm,
almost like programming a keyboard of your brain so you know what button not to press and what time and all that stuff. It's like the Star Trek spaceship, like all the
Mhm.
lights and gadgets everywhere, and you just know exactly what where to steer clear of and
Mhm.
how to fly the plane and land it at the
Yeah.
end, you know?
Yeah, exactly, and it's such it really is such a big thing, and, like, I don't know, I had another thought there that's also now gone, but
Well, I had another thought,
yeah.
and I feel like the first step in naming all of these things that we're talking about is,
Mhm.
I guess having an acceptance and realizing that it is not like this thing that's going on with you is not your fault,
Mhm.
and sort of taking that blame off yourself. And once you kind of remove that burden from yourself, it almost kind of like, to me, I kind of like gamified it. It became like a game of like,
Yeah.
ooh, what am I gonna like learn about myself today? Like it was just like something that I was excited to do because I was like, I only get one brain, and sitting here and self-deprecating myself was not helping anything. In fact, it was just making things worse.
Mhm.
And so if I just like accept the brain that I have, love the brain that I have, learn how to work with the brain that I have, then ever since I've kind of like that clicked for me and I was able to remove that blame from myself, it has made all the difference in my
Mhm.
productivity, in work, in life, in my personal life. I mean, it's made all the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's I 100% agree with that, and I think it's also something where, like, I don't know if I could do anything else consistently like I do writing. Like,
Mhm.
I think it's one of those things that it's like, I can only do this with the one thing, and, I'm sure there's people out there that could do it with, like, 2 things, but
Mhm.
if you have other things, you know, give yourself some slack there too with, like, the all of that,
Mhm.
but the thing I was gonna add, which I think is and it's not really that funny, I think it's mildly funny, but
Mhm.
one of the things that's actually helped me a lot with the, like, keeping the focus on and trying to herd myself has actually
Mhm.
been AuthorTube. Like,
Yes.
watching it, yes, like, watching it helps because it steers me, but making the videos, I can
Mhm.
just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this thing, and I'm gonna make this video," and, like, it gives you all those little milestones where, like, I can't
Mhm.
give myself just, "We're gonna have this goal and this milestone." It's like, I have to get out a video this week or the internet will hate me and,
Yeah, exactly.
I'll die on the internet, and and this is what the video's about, this is what I'm filming, so I need to actually do the stuff to finish filming the video. So, like,
Mhm.
making AuthorTube videos, not even like I very, very much do not make content in a way that is the most effective for the algorithm or effective for growing, and, like, I know so many things that, like, if I could do it the right way, I would do them so differently,
Yeah,
but, like, I do it for myself, and it helps
accountability.
me. Yeah, it's the accountability and, like, it's like it grows a little bit of an author brand and, like, I really like the community side of it, that's been very helpful for me too, but,
Mhm.
like, making the videos is for me, like, the same way in that doing the guide was for me. Maybe I'm just
Exactly.
very, very selfish choices there.
Well, no, I feel like, we've been talking about, it's like knowing what you need and finding
Mhm,
ways that feel fulfilling, but also are what you need. Like, same for
mhm,
me. And right then in October, if you go back on my channel, I think it was not until February that I started posting content in 2024,
mhm,
right after I started Ghostwriters Club, because I knew I needed accountability. And I was like, if there is even just like two people who are watching my videos and leaving comments and being like, what's the update on your book? What's the update on this? That was enough motivation for me to keep going so that
mhm,
I would have an update.
mhm.
And
Yes.
I was almost something that I needed before, because now that I've been doing this consistently for, God, almost 3 years, I can't believe that. Consistently for almost 3 years, I've sort of learned to build my own self discipline now,
Mhm,
which I do have, and so I don't rely on the YouTube accountability as much, but I still do YouTube because I love it and I love the
Mhm.
community and the people that I've met through it, and it's such a just um, rewarding thing to do, and it's just another creative outlet that's
Mhm.
not specifically writing. It's more, you can play with colors and all these fun things and sound and be funny and not be as polished as you are on the page. So
Mhm.
it kind of they kind of go hand in hand for me, and I really enjoy doing both. But the purpose has definitely shifted now that I have ingrained myself with my own sort of self discipline.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. It's yeah,
Hmm.
and it's helped me in very similar ways, and one of the other ways that it's really helped me is not even because like you, I'm kind of at the point where, like, I can be consistent with doing my stuff at this point, right? But the way my brain works, I have a really, really hard time doing things in any sort of intuitive fashion. So, like, I could never pants a book, ever. I can't even, like, a
No,
10th pants a book. Uh,
no.
but, like, I also have a hard time sometimes, like, thinking getting things structured, like, and how to tackle new things, and
Hmm.
making graphics for a video or working through it enough that I can outline it for a video puts it in a very good format for me to consume myself and, like, understand my own thoughts and make my own plans, where, like,
Hmm.
I don't think I would be as good of a writer if I wasn't, like, chronicling it on YouTube.
Yes.
It just it helps a lot.
Yeah. I speak way less eloquently than I write, though.
Mm,
One my biggest struggle, especially when like filming a YouTube video, is that I will start a sentence before I know what the end of that sentence is. And I'm like, so anyways, I was saying, and then I just stop. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, well, we'll try that again. But yeah, I am not as eloquent of a speaker as I am a writer, and it shows.
yeah,
But that's fine because YouTube is my like unserious side where I
yeah,
get to like share tips, be helpful. If anyone has questions, I'll answer them, because I mean, my whole point now with my YouTube channel and with the community that I've like kind of found is just to leave people better than I found them.
yeah,
And anyone that I get to meet through the internet, if they have questions or whatever, as long as I left them better than I found them on the internet, then that's a success.
yeah, yeah, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, yeah, I do think that filming videos, because I was definitely really trash at the beginning, and I would, like, re-record segments over and over and over.
It's so bad.
It is so bad. I've gotten a lot better at it, like, through doing it, and especially live streaming, because 'cause I've been doing a lot of live streaming
Mhm.
this I guess, the last year, I was doing
Yeah,
a lot of
last
live streaming.
quarter, yeah.
Yeah. Both with, like, I do conlanging live streams now, I do, like, Patreon live streams, and
Mhm.
talking through that has helped me a lot with general life communication. It builds skills.
Yes, yes.
Like, the thing I notice the most now is not even, like, that. It's always an issue, right? I'm never gonna be eloquent
Yeah,
verbally.
100%.
Yeah, but my vlogs are trash because I forget I'm vlogging.
Well, first of all, your vlogs are not trash. I love your vlogs. So
Thank you.
don't speak ill of your vlogs, please.
Yeah, I forget that I'm vlogging, and I'll be, like, starting to film something, and then I'll be like, "I'm doing a daily vlog," and then I'll be like, "Wait, I stopped at 2 p.m. and I didn't film anything else." Like, no.
Yes, that is my downfall. And I'm like, well, I just got to throw the whole vlog away because at
Mhm,
this point, but also I guess I've kind of gotten to the point now where because when I'm watching a vlog, I'm looking for like the real life, day to day,
mhm,
nitty gritty, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so if a vlog is like too polished, then I'm like, I don't relate to it as much because I am not a polished person. I am
mhm.
imperfect and forget to record things. So if like for example, if you had kept that in and been like, "Hey guys, so it's 6 hours later and I have completely forgotten that I was vlogging," I'm like, "Wow, relatable, love her.
Yeah,
Can we be
that's fair.
friends?" So like I think all of those parts, the imperfect parts,
Mm,
are almost more valuable because it
mm,
it it helps people relate and
Yeah.
see themselves in someone who is actually doing the thing, and maybe they have been putting off doing something for the same reason. They don't feel polished or ready or perfect, but seeing someone else do it who is imperfect, it kind of almost empowers them
Mhm.
to do it as well, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I think
I love it.
that's a good point, 'cause I like watching that kinda stuff too, where I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, and then seeing people achieve things in spite of it all, and
Yeah, it makes me
it's
feel
cool.
better. It's like, "Oh, I can do that too." And
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
that's probably what inspired me, and I'm sure inspired you to actually finish these books that we're writing.
Mhm,
We saw
mhm.
someone else doing it despite all the things,
Yes.
and they're successful at it, so why can't I, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ugh, powerful speeches we're having today.
I know, second tagline.
I know, right? I know, right? Why can't
Yeah,
I?
yeah. You can.
Birds fly over the rainbow. Why can't
Mhm.
I?
Exactly, love that song.
Oh, so good.
Um, so I the next thing I was gonna like, the next part of the journey I have is, like, the plan going forward, which,
Mhm.
we're consistent now, we're doing our stuff, we've written our books, we're writing more
I
books,
know, I know.
right?
So many books.
All the books. Um, what is, like do you have any plans going forward with, like, continuing to build that up? Like, your consistency with it and, like, I don't know, any of that?
Absolutely. I mean, I kind of have like a like so as I mentioned before, I think of everything like a cyclical kind of nature. Hold on
Mhm,
1 second. Goodness, I'm choking. Okay, let's try that again.
mhm,
So I think of everything as like a cyclical nature.
mhm, mhm,
And so with pretty much all of my books, I kind of what works for me is having each story, because usually I'm working on more than one book in a year.
mhm,
But for me, in order to successfully do that, they all have to be in different stages.
mhm,
So,
yeah, mhm,
like with like 2025, I was in the publishing stage of Ghostwriters Club. I was in the revision stage of terms and conditions, and then I was in the outlining, brainstorming, drafting stage of Project Purple. And so while I was working on three different books, they were all requiring very different parts of my brain, because publishing, I feel like in my you might agree, is the least creative, because
yeah,
it's mostly just like commas and do I know how to spell words? And my editor thinks I'm an idiot probably, but it's fine. And then, doing all the background stuff like
mhm,
ISBNs and
mhm,
uploading to KDP and Ingram Spark and all those things. It's
yes,
very like uncreative,
mhm,
it feels like. And then jumping into revisions, that's more of my like analytical brain. I'm picking things apart, and putting them back together,
mhm,
all that stuff. And then my brainstorming, outline, drafting is just, we're free. We're
mhm,
just flowing, we're just having a good time and seeing what the story is, and just kind of like telling it to yourself for the first time all the
mhm,
way through. So that's kind of how I plan out my year. And so I have a very similar year already planned out for next year, because I can't think too granular,
mhm,
or if it's too specific, it doesn't work for me. So I just have literally all the months, and I have like a thing stretched out across however many months, if however long I think it'll take. And so, as far as 2026, I'll be in the publishing phases of terms and conditions,
mm,
revision phase of Project Purple Book One, and then the outlining, brainstorming, drafting phase of Project Purple Book Two.
mhm,
So it's kind of like a never ending cycle, where it's like a conveyor belt pretty much.
mhm,
Each year, each project moves to the next phase. And so I feel like that's what's worked best for me. And that's kind of how I plan to remain consistent with, having a book hopefully release every year. We might take a gap year before the fantasy books start coming
mm,
out. So, because, there are a lot more work than like a thriller, because
mm,
it's a whole, there's more world building aspects
yeah,
involved.
yeah,
So we
yeah,
can talk all about that, because you are a world building queen.
thanks. Um, yeah, I actually do something very similar with my plans and my schedules, because I think not only does it help, like, getting to do different types of things and getting excited about it and having that, but it also helps me break it up into little milestones because I do it very
Mhm.
choppy. Where like if I look at my plan for year 2, like January and February, I'm doing like the first draft of book 2, and then it's going to my developmental editor. And then during that break, I'm going to go to my potions project and work on the series outline for that. And then I go
Mhm.
back and do these edits. And then once it's with betas and, then a line editor, then I like do a separate stage of a process. And I have to
Mhm.
finish the little milestone or else I figured out it's bad for me. Like it's best if I
Yeah.
can finish a full draft at once if possible.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm not good at stopping him in the middle of a draft
no,
at all.
no, no, no. It is not good for me. Also because my like my recall is really bad and my short-term memory is really bad, so I'll forget everything and I'll start writing in and I'm like, "Oh, what is even like what
Mhm.
happened? I don't
I'll
know."
have to go back and, like, reread everything up to that point so I can get back into it, yeah.
Yep. Yep, I'm the same. But yeah, I find that that helps me a lot too and keeping things moving and also then I'm always looking at different stages of the process, and, like, I feel like there's enough newness there with the new thing to be motivating to get started on it, like, "Ooh, I'm gonna start a first draft again," and, "Ooh, I get to make a
Mhm.
revision guide," and all of
It's
that,
so
which is
it's so fun.
very fun. The biggest thing I think for me going forward, other than just the not signing up to do too much stuff, which
Good
has been
luck.
a big problem for me, like, I thought because and I have videos on my channel. I don't wanna, like, go into it too much here, like, because I know you're fairly familiar, Cody, but, like, I left my day job and now my full-time job, because I totally
Mhm.
make money right now. I'm
Yeah,
self-sufficient right
yeah.
now. Um, but, like, is my world building Patreon and, like, all the stuff YouTubing with that, and then it'll be my books, right? That is my job right now, in addition to handling all the kids' stuff. And I thought I would be able to do everything and that it would be leisurely and so easy, and I'm like, "Oh, it'll be so easy to vlog because I'll just be like, 'Hey,
Mhm.
I'm doing
I'll
this
have all these 8 extra hours every
8
day.
extra hours, it's gonna be so great.'" And being aware of time and how much things take and planning that appropriately is not my strong suit. Um,
Mhm.
so, like, I started tumbling very quickly, immediately because I was just falling behind on everything, and I'm like, "Why is this not working? I'm working, like, 80 hours a week." And then I come up to Q2 thinking about your 90-day writing challenge, and I'm like, "Ooh, I'm gonna make myself a plan." Um, and I occasionally go back to the HB90 method, from Heart
Mhm.
Breathing Sarah Cannon.
Yeah.
I can't do it that granular, and I don't follow it in that way, but sometimes it helps me, like, I do a
Mhm.
relaxed version of it, but I'm like, "Let me figure out all the things I've committed to doing and all my goals, and actually sit down intentionally and think about how much time they'll take, how much time I have," and I sat there and I'm like, "I have committed to 4 times as much stuff than I have time for,"
Yeah. It's a
which
lot.
is a lot. Like, I originally was like, "Oh, yeah, and, like, for the 90-day novel challenge, I'm going to do this whole final edit, like, final line and copy edit of Because the Beast Came, and I'm gonna write the first draft of this other book. I could totally do that, like, that sounds reasonable, right?"
Mhm. Mhm.
No.
But that's a beautiful thing though, is like it's all trial and error and like
Mhm,
learning like what we are talking about earlier, learning what you're capable of in what amount of time. And
mm,
once you like lock that down and you know, then you are able to like really plan appropriately
mhm,
and keep a good pace because you're not
mm,
ever entering a state of burnout because you know your limits and what you can do and how long
yep,
it takes you. And yeah.
yep, exactly. And the thing it reminds me of too is that, like and I would guess you're probably similar, but, maybe you're not. Um, there's a lot of things about, like oh, yeah, because you did say, like, scheduling's a big thing for you. Anytime my schedule changes or my routine has to change, I have to refigure out all of the things and how to make myself write effectively. So, like, when
Mhm.
my kid started school, when now my one kid is in elementary school, so we have to, like, drop them off, like,
Mhm.
by 7 o'clock in the morning, like,
Mm.
so I can't write in the morning anymore, and, like, all these things that have like changed in every like era of my life, it's like I have to start over figuring out how to make it work. Um, and doing this full-time thing has been the exact same thing. Like
Hmm.
whatever task I start my morning with is going to be the thing I hyperfixate most on throughout the day. So if I don't start with my harder, longer task, it's going to be really hard for me to start that if
Hmm.
I do something else first thing. So like figuring things like that out, figuring out the things that are fun enough that I can do them in the evening or the weekends. Cause like at this point, my like in between when the kids are at school or daycare, that is like my main bookwork time. I work on writing or editing. That's it. That is
Hmm.
it. I do all of my YouTube work, all of my world building stuff, all my Patreon stuff, all of my publishing and marketing stuff on evenings and weekends because those are like little tasks that I can get
Hmm.
excited about and do then, and it's not as like draining. Because at this point, if I'm working all day with like very creative book related stuff and then I try and write in the evening, my brain is like, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm tapping out.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I get my brain will not do that.
Yeah, and editing for me, like editing videos at least,
Mm,
not editing writing because that's a
mm,
whole other ballpark. But editing
yeah.
videos, it does take me a while, but it's still like almost like a more mindless task because I'm
Yeah.
really just like listening and like, oh, there's a stutter, click, cut, and then hit play again and keep going. So it's
Mm,
very much like that. So it's more like a auditory than it
yeah.
is super visual, which
Mhm.
is nice because obviously writing is very visual. You're staring at words on a screen for
Yeah.
hours on end. And
Mm,
so I like having the editing time where it's more chill, more
mhm.
mindless. I don't have to think as hard about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep. It's the same way for me. And it's a very easy thing for me to keep doing because it's not like it's like obviously you have to get over that like starting the opportunity
Mhm.
cost. Is that what it is? I think that's right.
Um, hold on. The is it like the barrier to entry?
Yeah, that thing.
Like that kind of thing. Like the
Mhm.
the starting is the hardest.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
once it's like me with laundry. It's like
Mm,
I know it needs to be done and I will
mm,
put it off for weeks. But once I actually start it, it takes me 20 minutes. And I'm
yep.
like, are you kidding? You could have just done that. Like
Yep.
I'm just so
Yep.
frustrated, but I'm like, it's fine. At least it's done
Mm,
now. Whatever.
yep. It's one of those hard to start, but it like I find it very easy to keep going and not
Mhm.
draining to actually keep doing it. Like starting it
Yeah.
is like
Once I'm
all
doing
the
it, I'm fine. I
yeah.
don't feel drained by it or anything. I'm like, and even afterwards, I actually feel better about myself.
Mhm.
I'm like, wow, look at how productive you are. You are such a sleigh, you know?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I'm like, why don't I do this all the time? But also, I
Mm,
think that's why I'm a list person
mhm.
because it gives my brain dopamine to check something off a list.
I love a
Because
list.
I'm telling you, like a little checkbox where I'm like, like instant dopamine hit. It's so good. And
Mhm,
so and I know that about myself. So I implement that in all of the things that I really need to get done. It is
mhm.
on a list somewhere. That way, once I complete it, I get that dopamine hit of checking it off.
Yep. I will even add things after the fact that I did that weren't on my list just
Yes,
so I can then cross them
me
out.
too. I do the same thing where
Yeah,
I'm like, wait, I did a little extra thing. Let me type that out. And then, yeah,
yeah, yeah. And I
looks
think
like I
it's
did
good
more.
too, because then you can acknowledge all the things you've accomplished. Because like
Yes.
I feel like that's been the biggest thing with my like long term planning. Because like if I go back and I love to rewatch my like yearly recaps like each year and
Hmm.
like my big like sometimes I do like a mid year one, but it's like I never do all the things on my list. Ever. I have never hit them all. I barely
Hmm.
ever hit any of them exactly. But when I sit down and think about all the things I did, they may not have been all the things I wanted to do, but like
Hmm.
acknowledging all of those things,
Yes.
is
I
still
love that
like,
you said that because I was actually the other day making a script for like, my end of year. How
mm,
did I do on my 2025 goals? What are my 2026 goals? And I was
mm,
going down them and there were a good few that I just like had not accomplished. It just didn't happen. It didn't work out, whatever.
yeah.
And so I was like, kind of feeling a little bummed about it. But then I was like, wait, let me write down all of these things that I did do that were not on my list
Yes.
because I mean it's still amazing things. Like I didn't have doing two author events on my list, but I did that in
Mm,
2025. all these different things. It really made me feel better about myself because I was like, oh, and your priorities shifted, and that's okay.
Mhm, mhm.
It's not
Yeah,
a failure; it's a priority shift, and that's totally fine.
yeah. I didn't think about it in time to incorporate it for the, because I think my video is already out, my 2025 goals and recap video, or
Hmm.
yeah, that one. But, like, I feel like I wanna start thinking about it as more like an outlook, like a weather forecast, like, "This is my current forecast for
Hmm.
2026, but we know how weather does not do
Hmm.
what we think it's gonna."
Sometimes it changes on the fly, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that it helps so much to actually write out everything and acknowledge the wins and really sit with that for a little bit, and
Hmm.
yeah, I highly recommend everyone do that.
And instead of, I would encourage everyone if who has been looking at their goals that if there was one that you did not achieve, instead of starting with beating yourself up for not achieving it, maybe sit and reflect on maybe why that goal
Mm,
didn't get
mhm.
achieved so that in the next year if you have a similar goal you can kind of look out for that why. And like we've been talking about earlier, like once you put a name to something you're able to avoid that pitfall a little easier.
Yes, yeah.
And maybe try doing that and see how that helps in 2026.
Mhm. Yes, I think that's great. Okay, so I'm curious. So we've kind of already discussed this a little bit
Hmm.
interspersed, but, like, if you had to kind of summarize, like, for you and your process and all of that, like, what are some of the things specifically that are a lot harder, and what things actually come a lot easier to you with the whole being a writer?
What things come harder? What things come easier? Feel like, I mean, the thing that I guess in my first round of completely actually go through the entire process of writing a book, because I've only been through that complete process once. The hardest part for me was revision
Mm, mhm, mhm,
because I have it's one of those things where it's like I don't know what I don't know,
mm,
and knowing so it's that mixed with also like whenever you're revising a book, you are constantly looking for what's wrong with it, and that can take a pretty heavy toll on your self confidence, and it definitely took a toll on my self confidence my first time around with it. But as I have kind of gone through and I've like listened to other writers and talked with other writers, it's actually in that revision stage where the art happens,
mm,
where
mhm,
you are making conscious decisions and you are making those fine details and carving out those like small intricate things that
mhm,
hopefully shine through in the final product. And so that was probably the hardest thing for me was just revision and getting and finding boundaries and balance with my inner
mm,
self-critic. That was probably the toughest part. But the easiest part for me, okay, so I found that people have mentioned that this is strange, but the easiest thing for me in writing a book is writing the ending. That's like my favorite part.
mm,
But it's the part that scares people the most, and I'm like, I love an ending. Like that is the first. Like anytime I come up with a story, I usually have the ending in mind first,
mhm,
and then I build the story backwards from that. Like, okay, well, how did we get there?
mm,
And that's where the story is. Because if you have an interesting ending, you're going to have an interesting story that leads up to it because you have all these characters and dynamics that you get to kind of flesh out. But I feel like the ideation part is the
mm.
easiest for me because I have so many ideas all the time.
Yeah.
So there's never a lack of thoughts or ideas towards a story. So yeah, I'd say the creation is the easiest. Revision is the hardest for me.
Mhm. That's fair, yeah. So, like, I feel like I have a lot of similar difficulties, like, and a lot of them are things that we've talked about, right? Like, trying to do things when I'm not in the right mental brain space for it.
Mhm.
I sometimes give myself, like, migraines when I think too hard. Like, if I get
Mhm.
really overwhelmed and overstimulated, I'm trying to, like, think really hard on something and things go crazy, then I, like, have to
Yes.
force myself to step back. So like it's definitely it's not burnout, but like managing that and trying to maintain like being in a good mental state to actually be able to work on things is definitely something that's been a challenge for me.
Hmm.
Um and you know, all the things of like okay, learning and having to retry things and like I'm really bad when I miss deadlines. I and I'm getting better at it, but like having to pivot and change the plan because if I fall off, I'm not one of those people that's like, "Oh, I can just pick it back up the next day." No. No,
Hmm.
I cannot.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, it's so like that's difficult for me and also like and I still haven't fully figured out how to maintain deadlines. I'm still a little bit where if I feel like I have more than enough time in my schedule to do something, I will kind of like I still do it, but I'll definitely go slower at first. And then at the end I'll be like, okay, if
Yes,
I don't
I
like
thrive on the pressure.
yeah, yeah. And I'd
Yes.
like to that's something I struggle with. And like I don't know, because I don't really get like writer's block. That's not really a thing that I experience.
Yeah,
Um
usually I've talked about this a little bit with some friends, and they kind of like mention how writer's block in itself isn't like a real like I mean it's a thing that people deal with, but it's not
mm,
like it's usually a symptom of something else
okay.
that you are experiencing, whether it be stress at work, stress at home, like something in your life is causing the and
Mhm.
writer's block is the symptom. It's not the cause.
Mhm.
And once someone like told me that and like helped me like kind of put that in perspective, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense to me. And you're right. I am. It's a busy time at work, so that makes total sense as to why my creativity is kind of not thriving right now.
Yeah.
And it just like with anything, like we've been talking about, putting a name to something,
Mhm, mhm.
it's almost like you take its power away.
Yeah.
And like I'm like writer's block. Who is she? We don't know her. And so yeah, I love that.
Yeah. That actually makes yes, that makes perfect sense
Yeah.
to me. Yeah, because I think about them as the cause now more than like but, like,
Hmm.
obviously, there are things that make it hard for me to write, but I never
Yes.
think about them as love it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and with that, like, I think when I can't get myself to, like, hyper fixate on something or think that something is important enough and I need to move forward, which I have this problem a lot with the prep phase where there's tons of little things that I don't finish 100% because 'cause I'm like, "I can figure this out as I'm writing. I can do this
Mhm.
later. I really need to get started on this other thing." So, like, is it really that big of a deal if I haven't named these other characters or haven't finished this one side character's backstory? Like, I can do it when it comes up or while I'm writing.
Mhm.
No. No, I
Yeah.
cannot. Like,
Really?
I cannot.
I'm the opposite. I started this draft of Project Purple. Out of the 20 main characters that we have, I knew 4 of their names when I started writing the draft. I
I
did not name them until they appeared on the page.
I don't know why, but I very rarely when I'm drafting am in the headspace where I can, like, come up with things. It's almost like the creative part of it and the prose part of it are 2 separate things that I cannot do at the same time. So, like,
Mhm.
I have to figure everything out in advance, and, like, it causes problems for me. Like, with this last book, I was like, "Oh, it's" I was gonna go through and do a whole backstory thing where I, like, write out what happened, like, every year with every major event in the main character's entire backstory because, like, I
Mhm.
should know these things, right? And I didn't. I kinda summarized, like, "Oh, it's, like, roughly this stuff. If I need details, I'll come up with it as I'm writing."
Mhm.
That was, like, the biggest rewrite I had to do in my developmental editing because everyone was like, "It doesn't, like, really make sense, like, it never really fully like, I don't quite get the motivation, I don't quite get the relationship with the family," and it's all because I didn't think about it beforehand, so I'm not gonna think about it when I'm writing,
Yeah.
and that's probably the biggest, like, weakness I have as a writer, which mostly
Mhm.
just means I really need to make myself do this stuff beforehand, but again, sometimes it could be tricky.
That's so interesting because my I feel like my another one of my weaknesses is I'm an oversharer. Like if
Mhm.
I know everything about a character, I'm gonna overshare and tell you everything about that character that I know, even if
Mm,
it's not relevant to the story. And
mm,
so I think that's why this go round, where I sort of got to discover the side characters as I went,
Mm,
and they were introduced to me as they were introduced to my main character, and I would like, I don't know, it was like I was in the scene.
mm,
And I know when I meet someone I've never met, like what are some of the first things that I notice? Obviously, their appearance, how they speak, how they hold themselves, how they talk to others, like all of those things. I
mm,
was learning as my main character was meeting them in the story.
mm,
And so it felt like this very organic way of bringing them to life, and I really enjoyed the process. And it was really cool to see how, like in October when I started, I didn't know these people's names,
mm,
but by like, you know, the start of December and the last month, I was like, these are like real people with lives,
mm,
relationships, backstories, like everything. Like they were fully
mm.
fleshed out people, and I got to kind of discover that along with Luca, and it was really cool. So
Yeah.
interesting that, you know, everyone's process is so different.
Yeah, I think for me, it's mostly the, like, having trouble holding a lot of things in my head at one time. Because if
Hmm.
I need to come up with something that doesn't affect anything else and is only relevant in that scene, I can do that when I'm drafting. But,
Hmm.
like, with the main character's, like, backstory, that had to tie in and perfectly set up the whole character arc through the whole book and all the relationships, and I can't, like, unless I sit at and, like, literally, I had to physically, like, draw it out on a whiteboard or have, like, it visually everywhere so that I can see everything because I can't hold it here, I have to hold it in front of me. And
Hmm.
it's the only way I can think about it with the context of everything else. So, like, anything that has to be done at that higher level of, like, "Oh, well, this needs to set up the things this character's gonna do down the throughout the whole plot and how the relationship with this other character is and needs to explain this other thing," like, I can't do that unless it's all in
Laid
front of
out.
me. Yeah, yeah, which I think is why I have that problem.
Hmm.
I just have lots of
It's not a
bulletin
problem.
board.
It's a quirk.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a thing, yeah, I work with it.
Yeah.
Um, I think and that actually ties into the second thing because I wrote a couple little, like, things on a sticky note just now to try and because I will forget all of them. The other thing that I think I struggle with, which is slightly more tangent tangential? Tan I don't know how to pronounce that word. Slightly to the side. Tangential. That word.
Tangential sounds right.
Yeah. Oh, that does sound right when you say it. I don't know. I can't
Yeah.
say it. It's wrong. And
I've only ever seen it written. I haven't seen it. I haven't heard it. So I don't know.
yeah. The joy of being someone who reads a lot and learns words
Yes.
that way.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But one of the other hard parts for me is always like the perspective of other people. Cause I don't know if you get this, but like part of it's with like I do like learning things and trying new things. And so I've
Hmm.
done a lot of like things to a and like I can hyperfixate enough that I can do them well, right?
Hmm.
Can be writing things, can be other things, can be things with like the channel or, and it gives people this perspective that I'm this super functional, super productive person that like does all these things and can do all of these things and like I'll have people comment on it like I don't know how you do all these things and you're so disciplined and you're so this and so that and like you could do anything you try to do and like look you did this and you did that and you did this and like look at all these things you've learned how to do and I'm like
Yeah.
I it's so hard because like the perspective of it is so not accurate like to an extent like sure I did those things but like I couldn't do them again like and you
You
don't know
could.
like what doing those things like cost everything I should have been doing and like
Mhm.
I don't know I struggle with that a lot like the perspective of it.
Well, because you're living the experience. You know all of the pitfalls that may not necessarily have made it to the screen on
Mhm.
YouTube. And I get a lot of the same comments, people being like, "Oh my gosh, you're so productive. How do you do this?" And I feel like, I mean, there really is no secret. And it's like, I wish I had time to do all of this. And I was like, I don't have time, but I
Right.
make the time.
You're right.
I make it happen, and like you said, I know my top three priorities, and if it's not in one of those top three, it just kind of gets cut off.
Mhm.
And it's not always the most fun. Sometimes I have to say no to social plans because I have designated this time to really focus on getting my writing done. But
Yeah.
there are seasons where I do get to be more sociable and be out with friends and make plans, and it's not always easy. But
Mhm.
if it's something that really really matters to you, then you'll make the time for it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's as a YouTuber, the thing that we've made a huge priority in our life and are able to do at the expense of so many other things is the
Hmm.
thing people are visually seeing you accomplish, and they're not
Yeah.
seeing all the laundry that doesn't get done and
Yes.
all the
All of
projects
that.
that get dropped, and, like, I've wanted to do, like, a short or a video where I just go around my house and I'm like, "Look at this quilt that I started making for my husband and then I never finished. Look at this painting I started
Yeah.
that's just sitting here and hasn't been finished. Look at this wall I started painting and
Yeah.
hasn't been finished. Look at this 3 weeks worth of laundry just sitting here on the
Yeah.
floor. Look at my 2 friends
Exactly.
that I can hang out with because I don't have time to hang out with more people than that." Like, they don't see all the
Yeah.
other things.
The full picture. They just have a small glimpse of the full picture.
Yeah,
And the
exactly.
full picture is a hot mess. I'll tell you that right now. You see
Yeah,
this little box that I'm in. You don't see what my house looks like,
yeah,
which is
yeah,
fine.
mhm,
It's okay. It's livable.
yeah,
you know,
yeah. There's
it's
not, like,
clean.
roaches, you
It's
know?
tidy-ish. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah,
But yeah, it's
yeah,
but also, I do try to take those comments where people are being like, "Wow, you're doing so great. You're doing amazing. All these things," and I'm like, you know what? You're right. I am doing amazing because I prioritized. I worked on this thing. I've worked on myself to get this thing done. Like, I'm doing a good job. And
mhm,
it's sometimes good to, as I try my best when I get a compliment on how productive I am. I try my best not to immediately deflect that with,
mhm,
well, actually, all these other things that I'm failing at. I
yeah,
try hard, and I doesn't always work out. I still sometimes do it, but I
yeah,
try really hard to be like, thank you, and just
mhm,
leave it at that. Like, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Instead of being like, thank you so much, but you should see my living room. you
yeah,
know,
yeah. Yeah,
like,
it's there's that balance, right, of being
mhm,
proud of what you've accomplished and acknowledging it, and then also, like you were saying, trying to show the reality of that to people so
mhm,
they get that real look at how difficult it can be and, like, the
yeah,
reality of it, the realness of it, all the behind the scenes, like, less pretty, shiny, easy bits,
yeah.
definitely help,
100%.
and
And I think I'm gonna in 2026. I'm making it a point because I didn't really make a lot of content. I did a lot of live streams in
mhm,
2025, but I didn't really post a lot of like videos.
mhm,
And the reason for that was because I wanted them to be nice and polished and have good color grading and pretty fonts and texts and sound effects and editing
mhm,
styles. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to do the best that I can. I'm just going to share real honest
yeah,
whatever's happening, and hopefully that will take some of the pressure off of me to actually get more content out there, because I would love to post a video a week. We'll
mm,
see how that goes. If not, maybe 2 videos a month, something like that.
yeah,
Because that feels doable, because writing is a priority above YouTube. Like, writing will
mhm,
always take the precedent. And so
yep,
if making content is affecting my writing in any way, then I will always pull back without a second guess. Like, I'll
yep,
never give it a second thought, because my writing and what I'm actually creating is more important
mhm,
always than content and things
yep.
like that.
Yep, and it really has to be, and I think that's something I struggled with too when I first started doing full time is because suddenly my world building YouTube and my Patreon, that's the thing I'm making money with doing. So, like, that kind of has to be a big priority,
Hmm.
but at the same time, like, the way writing works, it's such a long process. It's so easy to be like, "Oh, I can make up one evening to do this thing I need to do." Like, it's so easy to fall behind, which is what I did,
Hmm.
right? And so I've had to step back on all that, even though, like, I dropped a lot of my tiers and I'm making significantly less money than I was because I'm like, I have to prioritize the writing and I can't prioritize the 2 things. I can't do it.
Yeah, because
Uh,
really, at the end of the day, everything that you're building this brand around is your
mm,
writing
yeah,
and the world building inside of your writing. And so, if the writing isn't the number one priority, and then what everything else kind of like it falls with it.
yeah, yeah. It
It's
is
like a
all done
tower of
in
cards.
service of the
Yes,
writing. Yes.
yes.
Um, but then the things that are easier for me, which are actually different than, well, I have the same, like, when you're hyper fixated on something, it can be easy to do something, and like the creative side and coming up with ideas. I have those same ones, but I had a few different
Mhm.
ones. One of them was that I think that I do really well with learning things. Like, I'm a very good self teacher when I have something to use it with. Like, I can't learn
Mhm.
something if I just want to learn for the sake of learning. Like, I have to learn for a purpose. And then
Mhm.
I'm really, really good at hyperfixating on that and reading all the books and watching all the videos and like making my guides and like figuring out how to do stuff.
Mhm.
Which I think has definitely helped me with learning both craft, but also I think it's really helped with preparing to self-publish, because I
Mhm.
think I'm doing like, I mean, obviously, who knows? We'll see, but like I feel like I've done a lot of work learning how to do things, and I feel like I'm able to actually do that, because like self-publishing is like learning 87 jobs,
It
and it's
is. It is. It's
a
a
lot.
lot. So much. I mean, you are pretty much an entire publishing team. You
Mhm.
have to wear every single hat. You have to be the person that hires the editor and the cover designer. You have to be the art director for the cover designer.
Mhm.
You have to do all the back end stuff with ISBNs and uploading to Ingress KDP. It's so many hats. And on top of that, you're
Yep.
just trying to be like, I hope people like my book.
Yeah. Yep.
On top of all of that, the fear of publishing your first book, which I know is a beautiful cocktail of terror and excitement.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. But it's definitely one of the things that, like, I feel like if my brain wasn't the way it was, that would be a lot more difficult for me to do.
Hmm.
Um, and the other thing that I think is easier for me is I don't need a lot of chill time or rest. Like, I
Hmm.
really don't. Like, it's doing things and accomplishing things is what gives me that dopamine, which is what puts my brain in good state. And if I'm
Hmm.
not accomplishing stuff, I am in bad state, and then it tumbles. So, like, I don't need, I mean, thankfully, because I don't have that many hours, but like, I don't have a need for like hours of rest and relaxation, and I don't need to like decompress. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like big social situations. Sometimes I need to recover from, but like, I don't chill
Yeah.
very
I have
much.
no chill.
I have no
Yeah.
chill, yeah, and I think that is a benefit because it allows me to, like, I'm not burnt out, and I've
Hmm.
been working, like, probably 60, probably some weeks I've worked, like, 80 hours a week, like, I'm
But
trying to
you're
move
doing
away
what you
from that.
love and what you're
Yeah.
super passionate about. And
Mhm,
so everything that you're doing you feel like is towards your like life's purpose. And so it's not like, because it's very different than, because me, I'm a corporate girly. And
mhm,
so this in 2025 I had a lot of like resistance to like, because I wanted so badly to be able to be a stay-at-home dog dad who just writes books all day, like that's all I've ever wanted. And I was having a lot of like rebellion and resistance with my day job. But
mhm,
actually, as I have kind of come to learn myself a little better in 2025, I require structure that is
mhm,
set in place for me. Like with you watching you set up your, whenever you first started going full-time author, I was like watching and I was like, okay, let's see what kind of structure she's setting up. Like maybe it'll work for me, maybe not, I don't know. And because I require it, I
yeah,
have to have structure, because if I'm left to my own devices, it is it is not good. It is not
yeah,
good at all. Everything's on fire. And I'm like scrambling around looking for the one paper that's not burnt. And I'm like, good luck.
yep. Yeah, it could be tough, and, like, I guess that goes into the challenges a little bit, but, like, acknowledging when I need to refill the well sometimes, and, like, when I need to give myself some space, because like, I can't go 100% all the time. I do like, I'm not a robot,
Hmm.
um, but then I just have to, like, make it happen. Like, I mainly watch TV that is not in English and is subtitled. Mainly, like, historical K-dramas are the love of my life. But like it's because I have to read the subtitles. So I
Hmm.
can't watch it because like just watching TV is not like stimulating enough for me. Like I can't just sit there and watch TV unless it's like super
Yeah, I'm a
gripping.
subtitle person as well, and most of the time I'm just reading the subtitles whenever I'm
Yeah.
watching something,
Yep. Because it
even if
forces
it's in
me
English.
to do one thing, which is really good when I'm like if I'm in like if I'm having migraine problems or I have like a bad back, so I injure it a lot. The only way I can make myself sit still long enough to heal is if I make myself watch things with subtitles, because then I'm not like trying to also do 18 other things at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, 'cause most of the time, if I'm on the couch watching TV or something, I also have, like, my phone in my hand, and I'm doing
Mhm,
something with that because I'm like, I can hear it. I know what's happening because I can hear it,
mhm.
so I can do something else with my eyes, and that's usually when I'm like, "Okay, I need to put a screen down." Like,
Yep,
pick one
yep.
and put the other one away.
Yeah, yeah. It's been, I've been painting a little bit, like because 'cause we're doing a room switcheroo,
Mhm,
and doing that and listening to audiobooks has been, like, really good for me because like, I'm like, "Look at me. I'm getting stuff
mhm.
done, and I'm listening to a book," and it's, like, soothing because
I
like,
love an audiobook.
I don't ever not do things, you know?
Mhm,
And, like, I'm gonna have to figure it out because like, in my other job, anytime I had, like, a sick day or a mental health day or, like, a vacation, I'd be like, "Now I can write all day and do other things," and I'm like, "Well, what do I do if I take a day off? I work?
mhm.
I don't
Right.
know."
Love that.
Yeah,
Knowing what to do.
mhm.
No, learning how to rest is just as important as learning how
Mhm.
to work.
Yeah, and it is hard. It is hard, like
It is. It
yeah.
is.
Mhm.
My
Especially
mom's
with
always
the
like, every time she calls me, she's like, "So I'm planning this thing, and I know you're always doing something. So how does this work with your schedule?" And I'm like, "Mom, I know, but I have been cutting back a little bit
mhm.
and like giving myself room to breathe, and
Yeah.
it's definitely made a big difference in just like
Mhm.
how long of a span I can go with my productivity.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
I guess just, I get the to reiterate that, everyone's path is different.
Mhm.
Medicine may work for you, it may not work for you. It's all about, knowing yourself, knowing what you need to do the things that you prioritize in life.
Mhm.
And once you have really both of those things figured out, then you're set, you know?
Mhm. Yep, and I'll add, I had the thought, now it's gone. God, I do this all
It's literally that is my daily life. Here are some real clips of what it's actually like to have ADHD, and then
I
you just
know, just
insert
clip
all the
these
clips of you
sentences.
forgetting what to say or me like jittering in my chair.
Yeah.
Like,
Ugh, I think it's the
uh,
easiest thing of filming is that I never have to, like, wait to say something, like, when I'm filming by myself, because I could just word vomit
yeah,
constantly.
yeah. I've had
Um,
my phone right here with my screen open, and anytime I'm like I have a thought, I'll just type down like a word and be like,
smart,
okay, mm-hmm,
smart,
mm-hmm,
smart. I remembered though. I
okay,
remembered.
we're back.
Um, and learn to give yourself grace and when to give yourself grace. And like, I think that's a really big thing. And evaluate your priorities. Like, if you're really, really want to be consistent with writing and you're also trying to do like 8 other things, maybe evaluate those. I don't know.
Yeah,
Give up
and
laundry.
don't
Who needs clean clothes?
delete comparison from your life because
That's good.
while me and Madeline both here, we both prioritize writing very
Mhm,
much so. But our lives, our structures, the way we do things, very, very different. So
mhm.
just because we prioritize the same thing doesn't mean that we have the same path to that priority.
Yes.
And so please, if you don't take anything else from this video.
Mm,
Please don't compare yourself. Your writing pace, your
mhm.
writing process everyone's pace and process is so individual to
Yeah,
them and their mind and their life and just that's really the biggest I guess thing that I want to drive home is just please don't compare yourself to
yeah.
others
I
because
think that's good.
we're all just doing our best. you
Mhm.
know
Yeah,
and
that is the most important thing.
Yes, like just do your best, whatever that is for you, and that will look different every day. There are
Mhm,
some days where I have maybe like 20% in the tank. There are
mhm,
some days where I have 150% because I'm just like hyper focused on something. And so I was talking to Megan, who is on YouTube, and she is a like autism, ADHD, ADD like life coach, and
Mm.
helps people to like find coping mechanisms and things for to
Mm.
get through life and live a normal life. And oh, I lost my train of thought. Dang it. Oh no, where was I going with that? Oh, she said that with ADHD, the disability isn't in the diagnosis. The
Mm.
disability is in each day that you wake up not knowing what level of attentiveness that you are going to have,
Mm.
or what level of hyperactivity you're going to have. Because the thing about ADD, ADHD is that it's not the same every day. It is
Yep.
different every day. And so every day that you show up and that you sit down, you kind of have to approach yourself, do a quick little self assessment like, how am I feeling? How am I really attentive? Am I getting distracted really easily today? Like, am I super hyperactive? Am I super low energy? You just have to just give yourself grace, do a little
Mhm.
self assessment, learn what you're capable of that day,
Mhm.
and do that. That's all you have to do.
Yes. So true. So true. Such good advice. Like that's yeah. It's very true.
Yeah,
It's very hard.
it is. It is so difficult. But Madeline and I are both living proof that you can do hard things,
Mhm.
and you can thrive and be successful with these things. It's just it doesn't define us. It's just something that we deal with.
Mhm. Yes. Yes,
So
exactly. Very good. I think that's a good
yeah,
point to wrap it up on. Tagline number 3 or 4. I don't actually know what
yeah.
number we're on.
ADHD is not a handicap; it's a superpower. Because our brains do things that no one else can do.
Yeah, yeah. We're just different, and that's okay.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Amen.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming and chatting about this with me, Cody. I've been wanting to do this video, but it's a weird one to do by yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
So
nice to just have two neurodivergent people just yapping about how their brains work. It's so I love just having the self-awareness to just
mhm.
talk about these things, and hopefully anyone that has watched this video all the way to this very long yap session
Yeah.
um that they hopefully feel seen and feel empowered
Mhm.
to do the hard things, because they are, despite what the world may try to say or try to sell you, you're perfectly capable of doing it. So
Mhm. Yeah.
just do the thing.
Exactly.
Like Nike,
Exactly.
just do it.
Yes. Tagline number 5.
Not sponsored.
Yeah. Yeah. Alright, well, yeah, I mean, I'll have all of Cody's links in the description. I'm really the worst with outros because I get to the end and I'm like, what did I
How
do
do,
now?
yeah. How do I end a sentence?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
This is
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like the perfect ending would just be to cut it off mid sentence randomly. Be like ADHD cut off coming in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, pretty much, which I feel like I don't even have to edit this video a ton because it's like, it is the case study right here for
Mhm.
you.
Or just have a blooper reel. That's a great outro.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, so we'll maybe get into the blooper reel if I get excited about doing it and then doing it, or the video is just gonna end. But either way, this part is staying in.
I love that.
Yep, yep. All right. Well,
Mark,
thank you so much. Check out Cody, check out Cody's books, check out Cody's channel, all the things. And yeah, ooh, the hearts. I love that. I don't think I get hearts. But yeah,
oh,
I will see
well,
you all in the next one. Thank you.